I think what you're going to see as far as this college football playoff, maybe not this year, but within the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to start to see probably more teams in that playoff that have probably 2 losses, maybe 3. I may be wrong, but because he made a good point. I think the New York Giants a few years ago with the playoff system, they finished the regular season 9-7 or 10-6, but yet they put together and won the Super Bowl.
Yes, I mean
because they were seasoned and they were prepared for the postseason for the schedule based on the schedule they played.
The winner of the SEC championship, regardless of what their record is, should be in the 14 playoff. In my opinion.
Oh, yes.
Because even the team that loses the SEC championship could probably beat all the other teams that are left out there.
Exactly.
And
here's going to be an interesting scenario where let's say we've got because this happened before where the SEC will have the top 2 teams in the country. Let's say Auburn's number 1 or Alabama's number 1. The winner of the Iron Bowl is the number 1 team in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to play in the SEC title game against, let's say, South Carolina. They're number 2. All right, if they're 1-2, and 2 upsets 1, they're trying to put some criteria on as far as conference champions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as far as the polls, if 2 were to upset 1, the loser of that game is not going to fall past 4th place. So that's going to be interesting, and especially
SEC teams
and if both teams are undefeated or both of them have a combined 1 loss.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm kind of thinking. I don't know. Wasn't a big fan of Ohio State. I'm thinking Oregon or Stanford might could have gotten that. I'm sorry, Michigan State because they won the Big Ten.
Yes. Well, I mean,
they beat Stanford.
Is you got these writers.
Yeah.
These writers are all from the middle of the country. I mean, that's one reason why Notre Dame gets all this press. Most of them are graduates. A lot of them are graduates of Notre Dame, but they seem to be centered in the center of the country, and they worship these Ohio State. I mean, every year they just build them up to be something, and they're a letdown.
Well, one of the top Heisman candidates is Marcus Golston.
Yes.
In Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're going
he took a year off last year. He didn't even play.
He got kicked off the team, didn't he?
Yes.
And then they let him come back.
Well, because he's a Heisman candidate, he's got to play.
Well, he looked real good against Alabama.
Oh, I know it. I mean, he was running for his life all day.
He can run.
Yeah,
backwards.
He can. Yeah. But I mean, these sports writers, and they don't like the SEC. I mean, these are a lot of Northern Yankee out west sports writers, and I guess we do get a few in there, but. I mean, the SEC is not very popular.
Well, the SEC's been dominant for the last 10 years, so I guess they're trying to push somebody else. And right now they've got the new, but this is from Bleacher Report, who they think the winner of each conference is going to be. The ACC, they got Florida State picked to win it. The American Conference, they got Houston picked to win it. The Big Ten, they have Ohio State picked to win it.
Of course.
Big 12, Baylor. They said they're not sold on Oklahoma right now.
I am.
Yeah. Conference USA's UT San Antonio and Larry Coker, his bunch.
That old Miami coach.
Yeah, who was a really good coach, and they just let him go for some reason. They got Toledo picked to win the MAC. Boise State picked to win the Mountain West. UCLA picked to win the Pac-12, and Alabama picked to win the SEC.
You got to be kidding me. Alabama. I'm
sorry. You don't agree with that, Kevin?
Well, I'm an Alabama fan. I try to.
I'm gonna hit you with this pencil.
I expect. I hope for the best. Expect the worst. But I don't know. And I'm trying to look at it. I'm trying to take my crimson glasses off. With all the players that Auburn's returning, I don't see how you don't pick Auburn for the SEC championship. But Auburn's schedule's a little bit tougher. They got to play South Carolina at home. They got to go to Georgia.
They go to Kansas State.
Yeah, they got to go to Georgia. And they got to go to Alabama. Uh-huh. So.
Well, and like I was talking about a while ago, I believe Auburn, Alabama, and LSU, one of them is going to step forward. I don't know if they'll be undefeated. I mean, but the winner will come from one of those 3 teams.
I'll say this: if Auburn makes the SEC title game, they will have earned their way there.
Well, I believe that too. Yes. And Alabama's got some challenges. Yeah. LSU's got some people to replace, but I'm going with the past, sure, because LSU's always a good team. Alabama's going to be good. Auburn's going to be good. And that's a give me right now. I mean, with the way it's set up, the East ain't got a chance.
And I know a lot of my Alabama friends out there are going to probably egg my car when I say this, but I'm just going to step out and say Auburn, South Carolina, and Atlanta. I mean, because when I pick Alabama, I landmine them. I mean, they do opposite of what they're, so.
And that very well could be, but I've just got that mentality. I'm an Alabama fan. I think we're going to win every game.
Now,
and I know that's
now
not,
if Jacob Coker can do what A.J. McCarron did last year, then I think that'll be the difference in Alabama season.
Well, that's it right there. This quarterback come in, find a home there, get comfortable. There's no telling what Alabama will do. But we've got some questions to answer. And Auburn right now does look like a good front runner.
And if Auburn comes into Tuscaloosa and beats Alabama, I'm gonna drive down to Tuscaloosa and have a little heart talk with Nikki, because you need to just throw that speech away where you said there's a team in the state we work 365 days a year to dominate. Well, if he loses to Auburn this year, he's 4-4 against them. I don't care if he's won 5 in a row national championships. I mean, I'm an Alabama fan, but.
Well, it starts with beating Auburn.
You got to beat Auburn.
Yeah.
Beat your in-state rival, just the same as Auburn. I mean, to dominate, you got to beat your rival.
One thing that's going against Auburn right now is they seem to have that curse when they're ranked up there in the top 10 to start the season.
I've noticed. Yeah,
because I can go back to the Tuberville years. They had Auburn picked number 1.
They lost the first 2 games of the year.
First 2 games of the year, and at the same time, I couldn't rag them because Alabama lost their first 2 games.
Yeah, and in 2010, Auburn won a national championship. 2011, well, they go 7-8-5.
Yeah,
and then they didn't follow it up again. They went 3-9. Of course, now this year they went 12-2.
That's why I'm saying I want to find out how they do next year, and that's what's gonna. That's what, to me, if you want to play with the big boys, you got to come back. I mean, don't be a one and done kind of thing. And I'd love to see Alabama and Auburn dominate college football. I mean, we'll take it. Y'all take it. One take.
I mean, Auburn, they're definitely be a BCS bowl contender, but but at the same time, I think they'll win. I think 10 games pretty much, but there's a difference between going 10-2 and then 11-1 or 12-0. So it's just like you said, it just depends on how they get past survive those.
Well, those 4 games I think are going to make or break Auburn: the Kansas State game, South Carolina, LSU, and Alabama. I think that's where we're going to see what Auburn's made of this year. And I think that, the way it's looking, they've had a great recruiting year. They've got a lot of people back. And I don't have to worry about them till the last game.
That's right.
Well, that's kind of what separates the SEC from the rest of the country. I can't remember which one y'all just said it, but a 10-2 season for Alabama, Auburn, LSU is considered a failure.
Yes.
Anywhere else, that's a fantastic year.
Get a 5-year contract extension, a big raise.
Yeah.
But
and in the state of Alabama, if you go 11-1 and lose to Alabama or Auburn, you're a failure.
Yes.
Which is what happened to Alabama this year.
Yes. I mean, 11-2, we have a great season, but we lose 2 ball games. We lose the Auburn game. We lose the Oklahoma game. And it just takes the wind out of our season. I mean, when across the nation somebody go 11-2, tickled to death. They're building these people big old houses.
Well, we're out of time for this week. I'm glad you came and listened to us again. And I hope to hear you next week.
Goodbye and have a good week.
God bless.
Mom, Dad, this is John Kroll from Big Oak Ranch. On the day that child was given to you by the Lord, the clock started. In reality, the lifetime you have with your child is actually the 2-minute drill to eternity. Our children are counting on us to show them the way. In our recent book called The 2-Minute Drill, we go over a way to take a young boy and turn him into a man. So many times in today's society, our boys get mixed messages about what a real man looks like. One day, he's going to have a family of his own. He's going to have to stand on his own 2 feet. He's going to have to know what real manhood is, not what society dictates, but what you, as his parent, has taught him. Choose wisely. He's counting on you to show him the way.
To learn more about preparing your child for the 2-minute drill of life, visit bigoak.org/manhood.